fellow heathens, and welcome to my channel. I'm Beauty Heathen, and my channel is dedicated to the exploration of paganism. Sometimes it's through readings, sometimes it's through demonstrating ritual work, and sometimes it's through educational content where I delve into the informational aspects of paganism. This was another ritual request, and I want to give a little heads up. I'm not going to go through the whole process of this, simply because I want to try to keep as many candles as I possibly can, and this isn't something I'm actually planning to do as a actual ritual, but I wanted to give some guidance and some assistance in this matter, because I'm sure it's something that many people can relate to, many people deal with, and where it was a request, I figured I'd go ahead and fulfill that. So today I wanted to talk about love spells. Depends on the practitioner, depends on who you ask. Again, not all practitioners believe in karma, not all of them believe in things coming back to them if they try to manipulate somebody into having emotions for them where they may not. I personally am of the mentality of don't mess with people's feelings and don't try to force somebody to love you, because you know what, at the end of the day there's always going to be somebody who may be better off suited for you if somebody isn't giving you the kind of love that you deserve. So with that said, I wanted to go through the basics. Now, I used this container before for the pink, I think it was healing or protection spell. I think it was a protection spell I did on our frontline workers, specifically those in the healthcare industry, I believe. So I'm of the mindset that usually you use, if you are reusing a jar, make sure that it was for positive workings if you are doing positive work. And where I used a pink candle for this, I figured it was fine to reuse this container because this is dealing with something regarding love. Now, from the requests that I had, the particular person is looking for something to kind of grant them, well, I'm trying to think back to what it was that Metamorphosis Rox had asked. I think it was a love spell for her friend, because her friend was involved with somebody and was giving her a lot of hot and cold. I tend to be somebody who I adhere to strong ethics where I don't feel comfortable, trying to force somebody to behave or act a certain way, or feel some sort of magnetism towards you. I feel that's something that should always come naturally, but what I did want to give is an idea of what can be done to kind of get some sort of clarity and truth from the situation. Because keep in mind that as much as we may want somebody, not everybody's going to give us the love and attention that we may want or really deserve. Now, keep in mind, everybody has their different love language. If you've never heard of this before, I will try to find the link where you can take the quiz to find out what love languages are, which ones resonate with you as to what is your type of love language. And if you are involved with somebody else, you might want to have them take the quiz as well to find out what their love languages is as well. Because it can be very interesting to realize that somebody may be showing you love in their love language, but because it's not your love language, you may not be understanding it. So it could very well be an energetic disconnect, more versus an actual fuckboy situation. I guess we could put it that way. Or hot and cold situation. This could just be a matter of disconnecting communication. I don't have enough information to completely and totally delve into an actual solution for this. And where that's the case in this particular situation, I wanted to give some sort of insight on things you can do, such as, and again, it doesn't have to be a white candle, it can be any color candle that you feel gravitating to. White just happens to be universal for any color. You can use pink, red, yellow, orange, really anything, any color that you feel is appropriate for this circumstance. If you want to do a sort of truth or clarity spell, you may want to use a blue candle, because blue is the color of the throat chakra and encourages speaking truth. Now, if you want to put oils on the candle, you can do olive oil. Then, 2 herbs I always use, and ones that you will always generally find in your pantry. Oregano is really good for revealing truth. And rosemary is really good for love rituals. If you have glitters or you want to use glitters, the 3 that called to me for this, granted, use what you feel is right, are silver glitter, red glitter because it's a love ritual, and blue, again, for throat chakra, speaking the truth. Especially where I'm using a white candle, I figured I might use a little bit of blue glitter to kind of imbue the blue energy or throat chakra energy into this to enhance communication. Now, the other herb that I have here that I would personally add, but you don't have to, especially if you don't have something like it in your house, is vervain, which is verbena hastata, because it's also good in creating love spells. And what I generally recommend is, if you don't feel comfortable writing the person's name and information on the candle, you can always do it on a piece of paper and stick it underneath the glass jar after you put the candle that's anointed and everything inside the glass jar. And as always, the main thing you want to do when you are trying to focus your intention of anything is, after you've put oil on your hands, be it olive oil, if you use an essential oil, you have to use a carrier oil. Please. I don't want anybody's getting any sort of dermatitis or any kind of reaction if you use straight essential oil. One oil I just recently got was castor oil. This is a very good oil, and it is a carrier oil, but I will let you know that it is sticky, which comes in hand when you're anointing a candle and you're rolling it in something and you want those things to adhere to it. It does a really good job at holding things onto the candle. With regards to putting it on the candle, I don't recommend using your hands because it's very thick, it's very sticky, and it can take a while to get off your hands. So for that purpose, I recommend using some sort of, little paintbrush. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. And then just dip it in and anoint the candle, or leave it standing and turn it by its wick so you're not actually touching the physical candle. Before doing that, though, you would want to hold it in your hands and picture what it is you're asking for and send that energy down your arms into the candle. And just picture that image or that desire going from your mind, going down your arms and into the candle. And right now is actually a good time to do this because it's after the new moon. As I've said before, the full moon is about releasing things. The new moon is about attracting things. So if you want to draw this kind of information to you, or you want some kind of sign from this person, now is the time to do it. And I have just some basically red thread that my mother brutalized. She's making masks for people right now, and as you can see, she just destroyed the thread. So I said, you know what, I'll take it because I can use it. And she's like, how? It's all broken. I'm like, part of paganism and part of doing any kind of spell work or magic craft or anything of that nature is making do with what you have. And I tend to be someone who is very much waste not, want not, and making sure I use things in some sort of way. And you can always cut it. And you can always wrap it around the candle 3 times in a clockwise manner, because again, this is something you're asking for. And then tie it off. Oop, I lost it. Just trying to make sure. Okay, so there's around 3 times. And then just tie it. And after you've sent your energy into it, anointed it, put herbs, glitter, whatever it is you feel comfortable doing, then tie the string around it. As always, try to smoke cleanse anything that you have. You don't have to use white sage. You can use thyme and marjoram if you have it in your pantry. Smoke cleanse the glass, smoke cleanse the candle, then put the candle inside the glass, and then put the person's name and information underneath it, and make sure that anything that you do does not violate this person's free will. Because the last thing you want to do is, kind of manipulate and try to force somebody to love you or show you affection, especially if they don't feel it. But I do recommend doing this kind of ritual if you want some sort of sign from them as to what their real and genuine feelings are, because there's nothing worse than trusting in your mind and heart that this person has feelings for you, especially if they've said it to you, and then not having any real consistent evidence of it. It can very much leave you confused. It can very much leave you questioning things. And one of the main things that is always important in any kind of relationship, it doesn't have to be a romantic one, is communication. You can't have one-sided communication and think that a relationship is going to be able to be built on that. Which, ironically, is something I tweeted out earlier. Please forgive the background noise. It's busy street. And, communication has to be give and take. If you don't communicate, that leaves a person's mind to come to conclusions about certain scenarios or aspects of the relationship that may or may not even be present. You know what I mean? As I said, it's like there are some people who, especially those who may have a crush on somebody or those who may have feelings for somebody, and it's like, oh, I can't make any sort of mistakes because I'm afraid that, I'm going to lose them, or I'm afraid that they'll leave me if I do, or anything of that nature. And it's like, no. Because being afraid to communicate with them and being afraid to say how it is you're feeling, or even just frickin' say hi, is worse than accidentally saying the wrong thing. If somebody misinterprets what you say, you always have the chance to clarify or correct it or anything of that nature. But you have to break that ice in order to have that come to fruition. And I know, I'm sorry, I went sort of on like a side commentary about how important communication is, but it really is important, because only with communication can you build trust, can you build any kind of relationship, and can you actually develop the type of relationship that you want to have in your life. So, I don't know if that made sense. You'll have to let me know in the comments if anything I just said was anything more than gibberish. I hope it was helpful. But for the purposes of this ritual, if you haven't watched my other demonstrations, you might want to watch my peace candle one, which I'll link somewhere up here, where I go into how to anoint things, how to, mix things up. Again, if you don't have a mortar and pestle to ground the herbs, you don't need it. You can just put the herbs or whatever it is you're using in a baggie of some sort and roll over it with a rolling pin. It won't mill it as finely, but it'll get the job done, just to break things up. So, yeah, I hope this was helpful. I know I didn't do an actual physical demonstration today, but I think I gave some sort of insight. And again, the order of things: smoke cleanse everything, put your hands on it, channel the energy you want into the candle, take any kind of oil, be it olive oil, any kind of kitchen oil you have. You can use castor oil, you can use dragon's blood oil. If you use essential oils, mix it with a carrier oil, which olive oil is one, so you don't have to get anything fancy. Then you want to anoint it from bottom up in a clockwise manner. So ironically, you turn the candle counterclockwise in your hand to anoint it clockwise. I know it's that. I sometimes have to straighten it out in my head. Then you want to anoint the top with the same oil. Make sure your herbs are prepared, mixed up. If you want to use glitters, you can. Roll the candle in the blend, get it all nice and coated. Don't get anything on the bottom. Drop the candle in the container. Take whatever's left, pour it over it, and then I missed a step. After you do the herb part, take the thread, wrap it around 3 times, tie it, then drop it in the container. Then put the person's name and information on a piece of paper, put it underneath, and just ask for clarity and clear information and some sort of sign so that you know where you stand, where the relationship stands, and so you know whether to keep pursuing it or let it go. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Please do let me know, and please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and set that bell to all to be notified of when I release new videos before you go. And with all of that, I wish you brightest blessings and blessed be.